Picture this. A plant sitting on your windowsill, leaves brown, stems drooping, looking like it already gave up on life. Maybe it's a plant your grandmother gave you, or one you bought during a random trip to the market because it looked pretty at the time. You've watered it, you've talked to it, maybe you've even apologized to it a few times, whispering, "Please don't die on me," like it could actually hear you. And still nothing. The leaves keep falling. The stem keeps bending lower. At some point, you probably stood there holding the watering can, wondering if you're just one of those people who simply cannot keep a plant alive. Now imagine walking past that same plant 3 days later and seeing something completely different. New green leaves pushing through where there used to be nothing but bare, sad stems. The plant standing a little taller, a little firmer, like it never struggled a single day. Sounds impossible? It's not. It happens more often than you think. And it doesn't require some expensive fertilizer from a garden store or a green thumb passed down through generations. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why plants that look completely finished can spring back stronger than before, using things you probably already have sitting in your kitchen right now. Not something rare. Not something you need to order online and wait a week for. Things you might actually throw away today without a second thought. Stay with me here, because what I'm about to show you isn't some trend you saw once on social media and forgot about the next morning. This is knowledge that once it clicks, you'll never look at your kitchen scraps the same way again. You'll start seeing your trash can differently. You'll start seeing your leftover coffee, your empty eggshells, even your fish tank water, as tools instead of waste. Hey there. Welcome back to Gentle Greens, the channel built for garden owners who want beautiful, thriving plants without spending money they don't have to spend. If this is your first time landing here, I'm genuinely glad you found us. This isn't a channel that pushes expensive products or tells you that you need fancy tools to grow something beautiful. Around here we keep things simple, honest, and budget-friendly, because growing something green in your home or backyard shouldn't cost you a fortune, or give you a headache trying to figure it all out. And if you've been here before, welcome back. You already know how we do things around here. No fluff, no unnecessary complications, just real tips that actually work for regular people with regular budgets. Today's topic is one that a lot of you have been asking about for weeks now, ever since I mentioned in a previous video that some of my dead plants weren't actually dead. So let's not waste another second getting into it. Before we go any further, if you're new here, consider tapping that subscribe button, because this channel is only going to keep growing, just like the plants we talk about every single week. And if this video ends up helping you even a little, drop a comment and let me know which plant you're currently trying to save. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and honestly, it helps me know exactly what struggles you're dealing with so I can cover the right topics for you going forward. So here's a truth that nobody really sits you down and explains when you first start gardening. Plants don't actually die as easily as most of us assume. What we often mistake for death is really just a plant crying out for something specific, something it's missing from its environment or its soil. And once you give it that missing piece, it comes back like nothing ever happened. It's honestly a little dramatic if you think about it, plants throwing a full silent tantrum just because they're lacking one nutrient. Today I'm handing you 5 natural fertilizers that work almost instantly, things that are cheap, easy to find, and honestly, probably already sitting somewhere in your kitchen right now without you even realizing their potential. We're also going to talk about the common mistakes people make with each one, because using these the wrong way is exactly why so many people try them once, see no results, and give up completely. Let's get into the first one. Number 1 on this list is something you've probably tossed into the trash 100 times without thinking twice. Banana peels. Now stay with me here, because this isn't just some random kitchen scrap tip you've already heard 1,000 times before. Banana peels are loaded with potassium, and potassium is basically what helps a plant build strong roots and produce healthy, vibrant blooms. Without enough potassium, a plant tends to look weak, its stems become thin and floppy, and it struggles to hold itself upright, almost like it's exhausted. Here's the part most people get wrong though. They just toss the whole peel straight into the soil and expect some kind of instant magic to happen. That's not how it works, and honestly, that's why so many people try this trick once and never bother again. A whole banana peel sitting in soil takes weeks, sometimes over a month, to properly break down and release its nutrients. By then, most people have already given up and moved on to something else. What actually works is a little different. Chop the peel into small pieces, almost like you're preparing it for a recipe, then let it sit fully submerged in a jar of water for about 2 days. During that time, the water slowly pulls the potassium and other nutrients right out of the peel. Once those 2 days pass, use that nutrient-rich water to feed your plant the way you normally would water it. The peel itself breaks down slowly in soil, but the water pulls everything out fast, which means your plant gets fed almost immediately instead of waiting weeks for the same benefit. Think of it like brewing tea. You wouldn't chew on a tea leaf directly and expect the same effect as steeping it properly in hot water. The same logic applies here. This is the real difference between a fertilizer that quietly works over the course of a month and one that shows visible change within days. Number 2, and this one genuinely surprises a lot of people, is eggshells. But not in the way most gardening advice usually presents it. Most people crush eggshells with their hands, sprinkle the pieces on top of soil, and then wonder weeks later why absolutely nothing has changed. Here's exactly why that approach fails so often. Eggshells in their natural state take months, sometimes close to a year, to fully break down in soil. So your plant barely benefits from doing it that lazy way, if it benefits at all. Instead, what actually works is grinding the shells into a fine powder, almost like flour you'd use for baking. You can do this using a blender, a mortar and pestle, or even by placing the shells in a bag and crushing them thoroughly with something heavy. Once you have that fine powder, mix about a spoonful into a cup of water, and let it sit for a day before using it to water your plant. This process releases the calcium much faster than tossing whole shell pieces into soil, and calcium is essentially what strengthens the cell walls of your plant, giving it a sturdier structure from the inside out. A plant that looks weak, floppy, or unable to hold its own leaves up properly often just needs stronger internal walls to stand up straight again, almost like giving it a proper skeleton. This is genuinely one of the fastest and most overlooked ways to help a plant regain that structure. There's also a bonus most people don't know about. This calcium-rich water can help prevent something called blossom end rot in plants like tomatoes and peppers, which happens when the plant simply isn't getting enough calcium to properly develop its fruit. So this isn't just for reviving weak plants, it's also a preventive trick for anyone growing food at home. Number 3 might be the most underrated one on this entire list, and it's something you probably prepare every single morning without giving it a second thought. Coffee grounds. Now here's exactly where most people mess this one up badly. They take their used coffee grounds straight from the machine and dump them directly onto the soil, thinking it's some kind of instant fix for a struggling plant. But fresh, wet coffee grounds are actually acidic enough to shock certain plants if used carelessly, especially plants that already prefer a more neutral soil. Instead of helping, this careless approach can sometimes make things worse, and that's exactly why a lot of people try this trick once, see their plant look even sadder afterward, and completely give up on the idea. The trick that actually works is patience. Let the used coffee grounds dry out completely first, spreading them out on a plate or tray for a day or two until they're no longer damp. Once fully dry, mix them lightly into the top layer of your soil, just enough to blend in without overwhelming the roots. This slowly releases nitrogen into the soil over time, and nitrogen is essentially the fuel that helps a plant grow new leaves and regain that vibrant, healthy green color you're used to seeing when a plant is thriving. If your plant's leaves have turned pale, yellowish, or just generally dull looking, this is often exactly what it's been missing the whole time. And the best part is, you're already making this every single morning without spending a single extra coin on it. Quick pause here because I genuinely want to know something from you. Which of these 3 so far have you actually tried before, even if it didn't work out the first time? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and it honestly helps me shape future videos around what you're actually dealing with in your own garden right now. And if you haven't already, this is a perfect moment to hit that like button. It might seem small, but it tells the platform this content is genuinely helping people, which means more garden owners just like you get the chance to discover this channel and save their own struggling plants too. Alright, let's keep going because the next 2 are honestly some of the biggest game changers on this entire list. Number 4 is one that sounds strange the very first time you hear it, but trust me on this one. Rice water. Not the rice itself, but the water that's left over after you rinse or boil rice before cooking it. Most people pour this water straight down the sink without a second thought, completely unaware of what they're throwing away. That slightly cloudy water is packed with starch and small amounts of nutrients that plants absorb incredibly fast, mainly because it's already in liquid form and doesn't need to break down first like solid scraps do. Instead of throwing that water away like most households do without thinking twice, simply let it cool down to room temperature. Then use it to water your plant exactly the way you normally would. What makes this particular method so effective is how gentle it is on your plant. It won't overwhelm a weak, struggling, or recovering plant with too much at once. It just slowly and gently nourishes it back to strength. Almost like giving warm soup to someone who's been sick for days instead of handing them a heavy meal right away and expecting their body to handle it immediately. This gentle approach is especially useful for plants that are already fragile, since a stronger fertilizer at that stage could actually do more harm than good. And finally, number 5, the one that genuinely ties this entire list together. Aquarium water. If you have fish at home, or even know someone nearby who does, this is basically liquid gold for your plants, and most people have absolutely no idea this connection even exists. When you clean out a fish tank, that water is filled with waste produced by the fish over time. I know that sounds unpleasant at first, maybe even a little gross, but that waste is actually rich in nitrogen and other nutrients that plants genuinely crave for healthy growth. Instead of pouring that water down the drain during your next tank cleaning, pour it directly onto your soil instead. It's already naturally balanced, already diluted to a safe level, and completely ready to be absorbed by your plant without any extra preparation needed on your part. This is one of those secrets that experienced garden owners rarely share openly, mainly because most people simply don't think to connect fish tanks and plant care as two things that could ever work together. But once you try it, you'll probably wonder why nobody told you sooner. Before we wrap things up, let's clear up something important that trips a lot of people up. A common myth floating around is that more fertilizer always means faster results. That's actually one of the biggest reasons plants end up worse off instead of better. Overloading a struggling plant with too much of any of these, even natural ones, can shock its roots and cause even more damage than the problem you were originally trying to fix. The real secret isn't drowning your plant in nutrients all at once. It's consistency. A small gentle feeding once or twice a week does far more good than one heavy dose followed by weeks of nothing. Your plant doesn't need a feast, it needs steady, reliable care it can actually count on. Think of it less like an emergency rescue and more like slowly rebuilding trust with something that's been struggling for a while. So there you have it, 5 natural fertilizers that don't just feed your plant, they genuinely bring it back from looking completely lifeless to thriving again. The truly beautiful part about all of this is you didn't need to spend a single extra coin to make it happen. Everything on this list was probably already sitting somewhere in your home before you even clicked on this video today. Gardening doesn't have to be this expensive, complicated hobby reserved only for people with big budgets and fancy equipment. Sometimes the most powerful solutions are hiding in places you'd never think to look, like your trash can or your kitchen sink. Before you go, if this video helped you even slightly, take a second to like it. It really does make a bigger difference than you'd expect for a small channel like this one. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe because Gentle Greens is all about helping you grow a beautiful, thriving garden without breaking the bank. And we've got plenty more coming your way soon. Drop a comment down below telling me which one of these 5 you're planning to try first. I genuinely love to know and see how it goes for you. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of your plants, and I'll see you in the next one.